Welcome back to Pokemon Episode Summaries. Today, I'll be doing the second part of the special of the Pokemon anime that I was doing, the Mastermind of Mirage Pokemon. Now, the special continues back up in the balcony area of the laboratory where the Mirage Master and Professor Oak were. The Mirage Pokemon that had kidnapped Pikachu had brought it to the Mirage Master, and the Mirage Master proceeded to hook Pikachu up to some sort of machine, which you can see on screen. And basically, the Mirage Master explained to Oak that he was going to extract the Pokemon data from Pikachu's memory, since Oak would not give the password that he needed for Dr. Young's research lab database, which he needed so that he could make his Pokemon that went against the laws of nature. Just then, the Mirage Master activates the machine with the press of a button, and Pikachu's memories started to appear on a screen, which surprised Oak as he looked at the screen and saw memories from several of the Pokemon movies that I haven't done summaries for yet, that showed images of all the legendary Pokemon that had been encountered during the movies: Lugia, Entei, Celebi, Latios, and Latias. Oak got extremely mad at the Mirage Master, since Pikachu being hooked up to the machine was causing red lines to emit from it, and it was causing Pikachu great pain. So he tried to scold the Mirage Master, but eventually Oak realized that the Mirage Master wouldn't stop. So Oak finally gave in, and in order to save Pikachu from the pain, gave up the password, which was red-green, all caps. Pikachu's immense pain was finally stopped as the Mirage Master stopped the machine, and in exchange, Oak physically typed in the password red-green into the computer, and following this, the Mirage Master downloads all of Young's research data from Young's computer into his own computer. Oak simply took Pikachu into his arms, while the Mirage Master laughed evilly, revealing that with the password, not only was he able to get into Dr. Young's database, but he was also able to hack databases around the world somehow. I don't even know how the fuck he did this, but he just sarcastically thanked Oak for giving him the ability to do this hacking, as we see the variety of people that were being hacked. We see Tracy at Professor Oak's lab getting hacked at their computers. We see Professor Elm's computer getting hacked at his lab. We see Professor Birch with his assistant Joshua getting hacked at their lab. And we also see a whole bunch of Pokemon centers getting hacked, and the Nurse Joys and the Chanseys observing this. The Mirage Master then evilly laughs some more, saying that with all the data he's collected from all the databases, his ultimate Pokemon would soon be born. And then all this data that he'd gathered started to flow in a special machine that was in a booth next to the computer. So basically, all of the data was being converted into energy and basically being combined to make an ultimate Pokemon or some shit. And when Oak saw this, he obviously got worried as fuck. What the fuck was even going on? We then cut to the police station that was closest by to Dr. Young's lab, where Brock had arrived. And Brock immediately goes over to Officer Jenny, who was sitting at her desk by a computer, and tells her that she needs to get over to Dr. Young's lab fucking immediately. Although, since he was so in love with Officer Jenny, he said that she had to get there for a candlelight dinner, although he quickly corrects himself and states that something terrible had happened, which was actually way more important than Brock and Officer Jenny's potential date. Before Brock could elaborate, though, the Nurse Joy suddenly showed up on Officer Jenny's computer because she was phoning her, and she told Jenny that massive amounts of data were being stolen and downloaded from Pokemon centers world motherfucking wide. Officer Jenny asks if this was what Brock was trying to tell her about, although Brock denies this, but states that the two things could very well be related. So with that, Officer Jenny promised to do something about both of the incidents, whatever Brock was dealing with, and the issue with the Pokemon centers and labs getting hacked. Meanwhile, back with Professor Oak and the Mirage Master, they were looking as the orb of energy got bigger and bigger and bigger and brighter as more and more energy came into it. But then, Oak and the Mirage Master heard a familiar cry belonging to none other than Mew, who had returned, with Ash following very close behind. Ash then grabs Pikachu from Professor Oak, but immediately questions what the fuck the glowing orb was, leading the Mirage Master to welcome Ash and inform them that they were about to witness the birth of the strongest Pokemon the world had ever seen, and screams out for this ultimate Pokemon, revealing it to be a Mirage Mewtwo to awaken. The force from the energy blowing out of the machine destroyed the windows, which Max observed from outside. May and Misty saw what was going on with the explosion of energy as well, because they had arrived just as it happened, having caught up to Ash and Mew. Obviously, May and Misty were shocked to see this blast of energy, and also shocked to see a Mew, who was there as well, obviously. But just then, the ball of energy completely disappeared, and in its place, a shadow appeared in the booth. And the shadow soon revealed itself, stepping into the light as Mewtwo. Obviously surprising Ash and the gang and Oak, but they were even more surprised when the Mirage Master explained that this Mewtwo was no ordinary Mewtwo, such as the one they were familiar with from the first Pokemon movie, the one that Giovanni had. This Mewtwo was a Mirage Pokemon able to use any attack, so it was essentially just a Mewtwo on super steroids. Honestly, this special kind of reminds me of the Lucario from Pokemon Horizons. Is fucking Mewtwo gonna appear there? With all the legendaries that are currently there, I wouldn't doubt it. But anyways, the Mirage Master then orders the Mirage Mewtwo to demonstrate its ability to use any attack, and this attack happened to be Shadow Ball, and this one Shadow Ball was able to destroy every single other Mirage Pokemon, with the exception of Mew, who was sad to see all of the other Mirage Pokemon destroyed. The Mirage Master then ordered the Mirage Mewtwo to attack Ash and the gang and Oak, but Professor Oak sent out a Dragonite and had it use Twister as Mewtwo used a Shadow Ball to deflect Mewtwo's Shadow Ball. which caused a huge blast of smoke, causing everyone to cough. But once the smoke cleared, although Oak was disappointed in himself for not being able to save Dr. Young and not even find out where the fuck he even was, he decided that it was best that he and the gang make their escape. So they did, with Mew following, leaving the Mirage Master and Mewtwo just standing alone. Ash and the gang, Oak and his Dragonite, yeah, that's right, I still can't believe Oak had a Dragonite, meet up with Max at the front gate of the laboratory by the bushes where he was at. Understandably, Max was utterly amazed by Mew, and he wanted to admire it for hours on end, but he couldn't look at it for long, as the towers of the lab then opened up, like, by the balcony and all that, and hundreds of missiles were fired from the lab into the air. Oak at first didn't understand what they were, thinking they were fireworks, but he realized what they were, and immediately developed a look of pure fear, as did the rest of the gang. These hundreds of missiles inevitably land all over the surrounding area before all turning into Mirage System generators. So basically, there were now a whole bunch of portable Mirage System generators disguised as missiles all over the place, which extended the total amount of area that the Mirage field could operate in. So that meant that Mirage Pokemon could cover more ground now, which meant that Mirage Pokemon could attack even outside of the area of Dr. Young's lab. Just then, Ash and the gang and Oak were shocked to see the Mirage Master and his Mirage Mewtwo step out of the lab and declare that he would use the Mirage System's power to take over the world, and said it was time for the world to bow down to him, as he used the Mirage System and a controller to summon forth a Mirage Entei, a Mirage Zapdos, and a Mirage Articuno, surprising Ash and the gang at the sheer amount of legendary Pokemon that were in this goddamn special, even if they were just Mirages. We then see that Team Rocket were in a nearby bush, and were watching everything that was going on, and these legendary Mirage Pokemon had caught their attention, to the point where they wanted to steal all these legendary Mirage Pokemon, even if it meant they could potentially get blasted off again, and they were still recovering from their first blast off. Wobbuffet then forcibly popped out its Pokeball, showing that it agreed that it wanted to catch the legendary Mirage Pokemon. Anyways, the Mirage Master then happily declares, bragging that what he was about to accomplish with the power of his strongest Mirage Pokemon was the culmination of all of his long years of hard work. And Mewtwo was his work at its best. Hearing this made Oak immediately gasp in shock, as he tells the Mirage Master to stop what he was doing immediately, and much to everyone's shock, addresses him as Dr. Young, because Oak had realized that the Mirage Master's true identity was Dr. Young. Max expressed his doubts that the Mirage Master could possibly be Dr. Young, since Aerodactyl had carried Dr. Young away, but Professor Oak explained that the first Mirage Master appearance must have been a mirage itself, and the kidnapping was fake, so Dr. Young could execute his plan. The Mirage Master just laughs at this, and takes off his hat and mask, revealing that he was indeed Dr. Young, and confirming Oak's assumptions, and he commended Oak for even realizing the truth, and Oak explained that the reason why he knew that Dr. Young was Dr. Young was not just because of how he said how he had done many years of hard work, but also how he had reacted to Mew earlier, calling it a failed specimen, which confirmed that the Mirage Master would have had to have created Mew before, and the only person who had experience with the Mirage system before today was Dr. Young. The Mirage Master couldn't have had access to the technology before today, so it had to have been Dr. Young. And then see flashbacks of all this, and true events unfold. Basically, yeah, Dr. Young had created the first Mirage Master appearance as a Mirage, and used that as an opportunity to have the Aerodactyl fly him away so that he could actually get into the real Mirage Master costume, and then, from there, everything else was all him. If that makes sense. Ash and the gang and Oak were then shocked to learn that Dr. Young's motive for being evil and all that shit was because he wanted revenge on the Pokemon Institute for expelling him after they deemed his Mirage System experiments cruel to Pokemon. And yeah, the Pokemon Institute was basically like the organization that professors were from and all that, and he was expelled from it. And without further ado, he then calls for the attention of his Mirage, Entei, Articuno, and Zapdos, activating them as he sends them after Ash and the gang and Oak, telling his Mirage Pokemon to attack, leaving Misty and May to send out their Gyarados and Combusken, respectively, and Ash sends in his Pikachu, while Oak sends in his Dragonite, and all four of the Pokemon take on the three Mirage Pokemon. While Oak criticizes Dr. Young for wanting revenge on the Pokemon Institute, Entei uses a flamethrower, or the Mirage Entei rather. Ash tells Pikachu to use Iron Tail to deflect the flamethrower and attack Entei, but the flamethrower knocked Pikachu down. Gyarados and Combusken then try to Hydro Pump and Fire Spin at the same time, but Articuno and Zapdos, who the attacks were aimed for, dodged the attacks, and then hit Combusken and Gyarados down to the ground with tackle attacks. Oak decides to go for the real problem, as he tells his Dragonite to use a Hyper Beam on the Mirage Mewtwo, but Mewtwo simply just puts its hand up and catches the Hyper Beam, stopping it, and then it flies up and punches Dragonite square in the face before smashing it down to the ground with its tail, immensely shocking Ash and the gang and Oak at the fact that Dragonite had been defeated so easily, as Ash tended to Pikachu, Misty tended to Gyarados, and May tended to Combusken, while Dragonite simply just laid on the goddamn ground, and Oak tried to comfort it, too. And as for Mew, it was just looking utterly fucking distressed at the situation. Mewtwo then comes back to Young, and stands next to both Young and the Mirage Entei, Mirage Articuno, and Mirage Zapdos, while Young brags to Oak that normal Pokemon could not defeat his very powerful Mirage Pokemon, and says goodbye to Oak, threatening to fucking kill him and his Dragonite, telling Mewtwo to do so. As Mewtwo puts its hand up into the air, and its hand suddenly morphs into the shape of an Arcanine's head, allowing it to launch a massive flamethrower from the Arcanine head straight at Oak and his Dragonite, while Oak was trying to just tend to his Dragonite, making Oak pissed off. However, right as the flamethrower was coming towards Oak and Dragonite, and Team Rocket observed from the bushes, Pikachu jumps away from a frightened Ash in the gang and jumps in front of the flamethrower, trying to use Thunderbolt on it to counteract it and intercept it, but Pikachu still gets hit, as the Thunderbolt wasn't strong enough to withstand the flamethrower, so basically, as opposed to Oak and Dragonite getting hurt, Pikachu got badly hurt instead. Young, observing a knockdown Pikachu, was a bit pissed off since he viewed killing Oak as a way to get revenge against the Institute, since Oak was part of it, but he decided that he would just kill Pikachu instead, and ordered a Hyper Beam. So, Mewtwo does this, turning its hand into a Rayquaza head this time. Yeah, that's right, a fucking Rayquaza. A Pokemon we haven't even seen in the anime yet, but it's a legendary Pokemon, just know that. And it launched a Hyper Beam using the Rayquaza head, causing a huge explosion that hit Pikachu. However, when the smoke from the explosion cleared, Ash was surprised and relieved to see that Pikachu actually wasn't hit. Mew had gotten in the way and blocked the attack, putting up a shield somehow to protect Pikachu. Everyone was obviously immensely shocked at Mew's actions. Although Dr. Young wasn't just shocked, he was fucking furious and squeezed the Mirage control device while ordering Mewtwo to fucking kill Mew. And Mewtwo obliged, rushing forward and slamming Mew into the ground with its tail, and then uppercutting it into the sky, throwing it up into the air with the force of a Mega Punch. And then it morphs both of its hands into Tropius heads to hit Mew with a double Solar Beam, both of them being massive Solar Beams. Mew was so injured by all these attacks that it was deleted, dissolving back into raw code and returning to the Mirage system, horrifying Ash and the gang. Because fucking Mew was fucking dead now. Young was not saddened by Mew's deletion whatsoever, though, simply telling good riddance to Mew, calling it a flawed specimen once again, which angered Ash, as he basically called Dr. Young a massive fucking loser time and time again. Young was completely unfazed by Ash's harsh words, and instead simply declared that Ash had to be taught a lesson, and activates another function of the Mirage system, which he called its strongest function yet, which he had yet to reveal. And as he presses a button on the control to activate this, Entei, Articuno, and Zapdos return to the Mirage system, dissolving back into code. Then, the code of Zapdos, Articuno, and Entei was absorbed into Mewtwo by Dr. Young, and Dr. Young also programmed all of the code of all the Mirage Pokemon in the entire Mirage system database. So now, Mewtwo had reached its maximum power. It literally had the power of every single Mirage Pokemon that Dr. Young had created, causing Mewtwo to scream out in pain, experiencing a lot of it as it got used to all of the Mirage Pokemon that were now combined with its body, as several of the heads of the Mirage Pokemon emerged from its body. Although Mewtwo was still able to utilize them to attack Ash and the gang and Oak per Dr. Young's orders, still screaming out in pain as it used multiple attacks at the same time, as its body distributed a dark purple aura, and it unleashed a Hydro Pump, a Flamethrower, a Thunderbolt, a Bullet Seed, a Hyper Beam, among many other attacks. In order to counteract these attacks, Ash had Pikachu use a Thunderbolt, Misty had her Gyarados use a Hydro Pump, May had her Combustion use a Fire Spin, and Oak had his Dragonite use a Dragon Age, with all of these Pokemon having recovered by now. And all the attacks, both from Ash and the gang and Oak's Pokemon and Mewtwo, collided in a huge explosion, although Mewtwo's attacks were way more powerful and ended up knocking out all of the Pokemon. Well, not fully out, but knocking them down. Also, Gyarados ends up landing very close to Team Rocket, although thankfully it doesn't land on them, only very close to them, so instead of being crushed to death, they only end up getting blasted off, and Wobbuffet gets blasted off last, annoying the rest of Team Rocket. Damn, Team Rocket did fucking nothing this whole special, and I have to say, I'm very pleased, because Dr. Young is honestly a better actual antagonist than Team Rocket. I mean, I prefer Team Rocket because they actually have more of a character, but Dr. Young's more threatening than them at least. With Team Rocket gone, Misty tended to her very injured Gyarados, while May and Max did the same to Combustion, and Oak did the same to his Dragonite. Ash comforted Pikachu too, but he really urged him to try and turn the tide of the battle and beat Mewtwo. Ash acknowledged that Pikachu was injured as fuck, but he begged Pikachu to continue on anyways. Dr. Young heard this and simply told Ash to give up, but Ash refused to give up, saying he was fighting in Mew's memory to honor its sacrifice, and told Pikachu to use a quick attack. And Pikachu did, determined to battle in honor of Mew, although Young simply told Mewtwo to use a quick attack as well, so both Mewtwo and Pikachu collided. Although Mewtwo's quick attack was stronger, and Mewtwo's attack ended up turning into more of a headbutt as it overpowered Pikachu and knocked Pikachu backwards. In fact, all the way back to where it was before it even started using Quick Attack. With that, Mewtwo then floats over to Pikachu and stands over it as Young tells Mewtwo to finish Pikachu off with one last attack, Mega Punch. So Mewtwo powers up and swings its fist towards Pikachu, but suddenly it stops as if it was being held back, much to everyone, including Dr. Young's, shock. And it was revealed that Mewtwo actually was being held back by a currently unseen force, but just then, this force was seen as a red aura surrounded Mewtwo, basically stopping it from doing anything, and it was revealed that this red aura was caused by Mew using its powers to hold Mewtwo back. Mew had died after all. Well, Mew had died, but it was only just absorbed into Mewtwo's body, right? So it was able to resurface from it, using all the power it could, because it was so determined to save Pikachu. Oak realizes this, and also realizes that Mew's return from within the Mirage system means that it and its soul were part of the Mirage system all along. Basically, despite Mew just being a Mirage, since it was made up of data, it did have a mind and soul, of its own, unlike most of the other Mirage Pokemon. For some reason, Young didn't give a shit if Mew had a soul, and actually this just made him hate Mew even more, saying that this just proved that it was a flawed specimen, since he considered a soul a weakness, as opposed to just being a mindless monster, and Dr. Young then tried to force Mewtwo to attack Mew, again, pressing a whole bunch of buttons on his controller in an attempt to power up Mewtwo even more, but because of this, the system overloads and freezes up, therefore preventing Dr. Young from issuing any other commands with the remote control, because, the Mirage Pokemon were entirely controlled by the controls. With this happening, likely because Mew was interfering and holding Mewtwo back, Oak then regretfully told Ash that the only way to stop Mewtwo now would be to attack Mewtwo while Mew still had a hold over it, even though destroying Mewtwo would cause Mew to die as well. Ash hesitated when he realized this, covering his face, not wanting to face the fact that he would have to destroy Mew, and he was even crying at this. He couldn't bring himself to attack such a nice Pokemon, but then he saw Mewtwo turn around and start to break free from Mew's hold. So, Ash knew that if Mewtwo broke free, then it would just unleash mayhem again, and it could potentially kill Mew anyways. So, Ash saw that it was best to kill Mew and Mewtwo without the risk of anyone else dying, so he told Pikachu to attack the still restrained Mewtwo with a Volt Tackle, causing a huge explosion. Once Pikachu hit Mewtwo square in the chest, and after the dust had settled from this explosion, Mewtwo was completely destroyed and had disappeared after this. May ended up dying shortly thereafter, but very, very slowly, allowing Mew and Ash and the Gang and Oak to look at each other some more, and as Ash and the Gang looked on sadly, saying a tearful goodbye to Mew, Mew fully disintegrated. It was gone. Young then watches in horror as the Mirage system generators explode all around him and inside his laboratory, causing the entire laboratory and surrounding area to erupt in flames, and soon the laboratory burns down entirely. That's what you get, Dr. Young, you cunt. Your plans were ruined. Oak informs Young that his plans were ruined and orders him to come along with him and the rest of the gang so he could officially surrender and turn himself in to the police. But much to Professor Oak's surprise, Young refuses to go and states that he still had much work to do on his Mirage system and walks back into his burning castle that still had a bit of remnants left, which indicated that Dr. Young wanted to continue work on his Mirage system again. Oak was distraught, not wanting Dr. Young to die, because, even though Dr. Young was evil, the two of them did know each other, but when Oak went to go in the castle laboratory to get Young, some rubble fell and blocked the entranceway, so Oak simply started to cry, as he couldn't go in and save his former friend. A few hours later, Officer Jenny and a team of firefighters arrive, since Brock had directed Officer Jenny and all her firefighters to the lab, but after searching the lab and castle's remains, Officer Jenny informed Ash and the Gang and Oak that they weren't able to find any sign of Young whatsoever, indicating that maybe his body got fucking incinerated, I don't know, or he just disappeared and he would try and continue his Mirage work elsewhere. I don't fucking know. We never see Dr. Young ever again, so yeah, guess we'll never know. Ash and the gang asked Oak if he was okay that his fucking friend died, but Oak just said that, unfortunately, that's just how shit played out. Ash and the gang then commented on how Mew truly had a soul, despite seemingly being just data from the Mirage system, and Ash and Misty especially commented on how kind Mew was in general, and both of them promised to one day see Mew again, whether it was the Mirage version or the real version. Yeah, I think the Mirage version's gone, guys, but real version's always up for grabs, and Ash looked at Pikachu, asking him if he wanted to see Mew again, and Pikachu agreed, smiling.